All right, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm with the Mommy Care Kit team, and we actually sponsor seminars at least once or twice a month. We actually got July's kind of packed. We've got 3 seminars ready to go. We'll be adding our 4th one on here pretty soon. And the goal is to have a seminar talk about different topics to help our moms with their pregnancy journey at least once a week. And so I'll share more information about that towards the end. But no further ado, we're going to bring up Miss Lisa Gambon. She is the owner of Skin to Skin Gowns, and she's going to share more about the power of skin to skin with our baby, especially during that golden hour. And so we're super excited. I'm glad she's able to join us. Also, housekeeping, the call will be recorded, like I said earlier. That information will be uploaded to our YouTube channel, and I'll be sending the link out to all of the participants that register for the class. We'll send that out to you with all of Lisa's contact information as well. So with no further ado, I'm going to hand over this seminar to Miss Lisa. Lisa, if you want to go ahead and unmute your mic, I'm going to mute mine. If you have any questions, you can put them in the chat. Lisa also is going to engage with the audience as well, so she may ask questions, and you can feel free to jump in and answer. All right, ladies, stay tuned. All right, Lisa, mic is all yours.
Rita, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Let me just check. Can you guys hear me okay? Yes, thumbs up. And can you see my screen? Yes. Okay, very good. Glad all this is working. I too am in Cleveland, Ohio. We have been experiencing tremendous heat wave the past couple days. My power has gone out 3 separate times today. So fingers crossed that the power stays on long enough for this presentation and we can get through all these great points. So as Rita mentioned, my name is Lisa Gambon, and I am so excited to be here today to talk to you about a subject that is very close to my heart, which is skin to skin time, especially in that golden hour bonding. There are so many wonderful benefits from this very simple yet effective practice. This practice that has relatively new from a historical perspective, which we'll talk about, but is now known as a standard practice of care once moms have their babies. So I have some information, I'll have some question and answers. Like Rita said, I want this to be informative and interactive. You guys have questions, I will do my best to answer them in the moment as I see them pop up on the chat, or I have some time at the end for some question and answers. I am a mom of four kids. My oldest is 17. I have a 14-year-old, an almost 12-year-old, and a 7-year-old. So even if you have questions beyond skin to skin after we're done, ask away. I have lots of experiences and anecdotes for you. So I know I've seen the names, I've seen where people are from. Can you do a quick favor for me? We'll skip the first question that I have on here, but go straight to the second one. I know where some of you are located, but if you could just take a minute and let me know what number, if you are expecting, what number is this for you? What number baby? And number 2, have you heard of skin to skin / golden hour or kangaroo care? There are a couple terms that are somewhat used interchangeably, and we're going to talk about, there are just a few nuances that we'll get to throughout the course of the session, but I just wanted to gauge, is it first and yes? Okay, thank you, Madison. Good to know. First and yes, first and yes. Okay, perfect. Wow, you guys are great. Thank you. I love to have the feedback. Oh my gosh, she's 12 weeks old today. Congratulations. That's so exciting. Twin. Oh my gosh. This is incredible. Well, great. Like I said, I have 4 kids. It's a wonderful time welcoming children into the world. It's also very scary, very nerve-wracking, and sometimes overwhelming. And that's really why I was so excited to talk to you guys today, because I think it's so important for, number one, moms to come together to talk about these things and learn from each other's experiences. You know, you can read books, you can read articles, but I do think experience is the best teacher. And once you have experiences, I think it's just a good practice to share those experiences with others and raise awareness. And that's what we're really going to do today. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the skin to skin time of golden hour, right? I'm going to give a quick background on skin to skin. We're going to spend a good portion talking about the benefits for mom and baby, right? There are benefits to both parties in this endeavor, so we want to make sure we give proper attention to both of those. We are going to talk a little bit about possible interferers to successful skin to skin bonding. It is a best practice, as I mentioned. The vast majority of hospitals and birthing centers promote this and endorse skin to skin bonding, but there are things that you need to be aware of when you're trying to practice skin to skin bonding. So I want to make sure that you're aware of those, not to frighten anybody, but just to make sure that you're putting the right preventative measures in place so you have the best experience possible. And that kind of flows into the next point, tips for success. And then I'll go ahead and talk a little bit about my own personal experience with my children and kind of through those experiences with my own children, what led me to start my own company and promote skin to skin bonding like I do now. So before we get started, any questions or concerns? Because if not, we'll jump right into it. Okay, we'll take that as a no. All right, so let's go over just a little bit of history of skin to skin bonding. Now, you guys know as well as I do, moms having babies has literally been happening since the beginning of time. So this is having a baby, holding your newborn. It is nothing new. But what's really fascinating is that back in the 70s, which when you think about it, is not very long ago, right? We research on women healthcare, and that's a whole separate issue. We're not going to get into all that today, but again, it just kind of shows you, wow, this really has not been studied that much until the 1970s. So there were a couple doctors in Colombia that were working at very overpopulated hospitals, overcrowded hospitals, and they would have premature babies being born, and they were running out of incubator space. So they had no way to keep the babies warm and to ensure that the rest of their vitals got up to speed after delivery. So these doctors thought, hey, wait a second, if we're out of incubators, what could be kind of the next best thing? So these doctors were the ones that discovered placing babies directly on mom's chest after delivery for the first 60 to 90 minutes, which came to be known as the golden hour, was a perfect setting to regulate temperature, other vital statistics. But the amazing part is that it started to reduce the infant mortality rates there. It increased the survival rates of the babies, which is what they wanted to do all along. So as they do in the medical profession, they started to document these, get it in medical journals, and it started to spread like wildfire all across the world. Now these different agencies from the World Health Organization, UNICEF, the National Institutes of Health, the American Academy of Pediatrics, I mean, different organizations from all over the world advocate for this practice and just really advocate for the practice because of the benefits that it brings to it. So let me just stop here for 1 second and just clarify the differences between the terms. So golden hour is that special time 60 to 90 minutes after birth.
So she keeps trying to reach for me. That's why I keep it. Okay,
Oh.
how did you going?
Sorry, is somebody not on mute? Oh, that's okay. I wasn't sure if it was a question or just somebody off mute, but no problem. So there's a ton of hormonal surges that happen during that first 60 or 90 minutes after delivery, which is why they encourage moms to really focus and spend time with baby by themselves. Never to exclude spouses, dads, partners, support people, but that first 60 or 90 minutes is really unique to mom and baby. Skin to skin and kangaroo care are really used just interchangeably almost. It just means bear against mom's chest, baby bear, but that could also be practiced with dad, with siblings, with other special people in your family that you want to really establish that good bond with baby. So when we're talking about skin to skin, it's just that literal skin to skin. Kangaroo is the same way, bare chest to bare chest. Golden hour is that more specific time immediately after delivery. So let's jump into some of the benefits that we get from skin to skin time. So first, I believe we're going to start off with benefits for baby. So as we heard about in the story from South America, uh, that skin to skin time starts to stabilize the baby's body temperature, along with the breathing rate, the heart rate, and glucose levels. So you have to remember, once baby comes out of that perfect environment of the womb, it had all of the warmth, all of the food, muffled sound, nice, cozy, dark, and it's coming into this bright, loud, exciting new world outside of the womb, and it needs time to adjust. So that's really the perfect place, mom's chest, is for baby to now uh, warm up, right? They've come out, babies are unable to regulate their own body temperature. Right after delivery, so they need to maintain that warmth. And once their body is stabilized with warmth, all of those other vitals kind of fall in line, which is what we want. Babies happy, healthy, good, strong breathing rates, good, strong heart rates, and making sure that their blood sugar doesn't dip too low after delivery. That placement on mom's chest also starts to introduce some friendly bacteria to baby. So in that womb, they are pretty isolated. They are very well insulated from a lot of potential infections and viruses and bacteria. So when they place baby right on mom's chest, then baby starts to slowly and gradually get exposed to some of that outside bacteria. The nice part is, if it's on mom's body is aware of that, and then it starts to produce antibodies within their breast milk, so they can start to give baby those immunities from that experience. So the bond between baby and mom, and that nursing power, the ability for breast milk to change based on baby's needs, that all is possible from that exposure to those bacteria that's on mom's chest. It also enhances the breastfeeding success. So there's this love hormone called oxytocin that is surging after mom delivers. It's also surging in baby, and they call that the love hormone. So all these hormones, that skin to skin contact is promoting all of this hormone production, and it helps babies not only get mom's smell, start to root, which we'll talk about in a little bit, towards mom's breast for that first feeding. But it also helps mom, and we'll get to this a little bit more, increase that milk production. So she's ready to breastfeed when her milk comes in and baby's ready to go. And then finally, it starts to really foster that emotional bond between mom and baby. As I mentioned, they come out from this very protected environment into this somewhat scary new world that they are thrust into. So that need for calm and nurturing, it happens right there. Baby can hear mom's heartbeat. They hear the rhythm of her blood flow. They hear all that stuff, and it's very soothing and very comforting. But it helps the baby establish, okay, when I'm here, I'm safe. When I hear these sounds, when I feel this warmth, I'm in a safe spot. So, and not to leave out mom, right? Mom is also important to this whole process, and mom also gets some really amazing benefits to this as well. So skin to skin time for mom helps support the overall postpartum recovery period. So after the baby is delivered, generally speaking, the mom still has to deliver the placenta as part of the full delivery process. This bonding, as I mentioned, it starts to increase the oxytocin. Oxytocin also helps the body, specifically the uterus, start contracting. So it helps to expunge that placenta out to finish the delivery process. And with those contractions of the uterus, it also helps to reduce the chance of hemorrhaging or excessive bleeding that mom might experience after delivery, which are all really helpful to the overall health of mom. Again, we mentioned this with the previous slide. It helps enhance breastfeeding. So as mom starts to hold that baby, it's really promoting that hormone production, stimulating her body to be ready to feed her new baby, which is ideal in any situation. Whether you decide to breastfeed or bottle feed, you still want to have those natural responses, which are just so much more than simply breastfeeding, you still promote those love and those bonding moments between mom and baby. It also reduces the postpartum depression symptoms. So when a mom has the baby, a lot of times there's experiences of overwhelmingness, of doubt, self-doubt, whether or not they can take care of this newborn life. It's pretty overwhelming in a lot of ways. But again, it reduces the amount of cortisol levels in both mom and baby. Cortisol is connected to those stress hormones. So when you start to reduce the stress in your life, you're able to kind of start to think, yeah, I can do this. I got this. I got my baby. We made it through the hard part, quote unquote, right? Wait till the terrible twos, but we've made it through this hurdle, and now we're gonna bond, and we're really gonna make this a good relationship between mom and baby, which is great. And that really nicely ties into that idea of increasing confidence for moms. When you bond with baby, you start to really understand that this is a natural experience. It has literally perpetuated throughout history. And we're just now part of this amazing lineage of women and moms that are this wonderful circle of people that we can use just for support and to rely on. And if they have done it before you, and by golly, you guys can do it too, which is great. It's a good boost of confidence for you. So I'm going to stop right here. I'm going to take a sip of water, but let me know if anybody has any questions in the chat. And if not,
if you have any questions, you can drop them in the chat, or you can
just shout. Yeah, no problem. Okay, good deal. All right, we'll keep plugging along then.
I was just trying to make sure that the my noise level around me was okay. Why is the rush? This is my third baby, but why is the rush? Why is the snatching away of the baby and going with the baby? Why is the rush? Cut the umbilical cord so fast, and is it because they have other people in there? You don't get the time, and then you have to ask, where is my baby? Can I have my baby? Like, oh, he's in the nursery. I don't care. I'm anxious. I'm
Yeah.
feeling overwhelmed. Like, can you bring my baby to me?
Yeah.
And then the hour pass, and then you doze off. Then you jump in panic. I'm just giving you my experience, and it's
Yeah.
like, where is my baby? Still, oh, he's just over there. Then when they come back, you saw that they're all poked up, and I'm crying like, what happened while in that little time? I'm asking you for my baby. What were you doing with my baby over there? Why is he got all these holes in his foot? You could tell little blood
Yeah.
splatters. That why I couldn't have that time. I felt so rushed. It's just like, is he sick? Is something wrong? No, he's fine. And it's just this rush, no calm. And I felt like that really had me anxious and gave me some kind of anxiety.
Yeah. I mean, thank you for sharing that. I 100% agree. It is very chaotic in the delivery room right after it happens. And I think the best things to do is to continue to make sure that your doctor and the medical staff are aware of your wishes, right? You need to advocate for yourself. You need to have the people that are going to be in the room for you understand what your desires are. Um, I am not a medical professional, so I don't want to speak on behalf of medical professionals, but I do interact with a lot of postpartum, labor and delivery nurses and postpartum doulas and those sorts of folks. And by and large, they encourage you to advocate for yourself. They want you to ask. Make sure that it's known that if it is possible, if there are no health problems, if there's no medical concerns with the baby, I want to hold my baby for as long as possible, right? And continue to advocate for that, because to your point, the nurses that are there, they do have other patients. I'm sure they have orders and they're on time frames and agendas. So while it's not ideal for you, they might just be checking off the list of the things that they need to do. It doesn't mean that that's the way that it has to be done. So that's my opinion, is continue to advocate for yourself. I see a doula in the chat. That's one of the reasons to make sure that you advocate for yourself, agree. And, again, I would say really try to advocate before you're in the delivery situation, right? Because a lot of things can go wrong, things can get pretty harried sometimes. So the more you talk about it beforehand, I think the more likely they are to be able to acknowledge those wishes and make sure that they're possible for you.
Thank
I
you.
have one thing to say. We had a class that they can go back to our YouTube channel, and it talked about preparing for childbirth and getting your birth team together. It was a great seminar, and that might be something you might want to go back and take a listen to, because it's important. Same thing with the doula is saying. I mean, you have to be an advocate for yourself, and putting a birth team together of the people that you want to help you through this process. I highly advise it. All right, go ahead, Lisa.
Okay, sure. But thank you for the comment. I love to hear these experiences. We'll have time at the end to continue to chat about these things, but it's so important to bring it up because especially if you're a new mom, you don't know what to expect. Even if you've read a bunch of stuff and you've tried to study, nothing will ever quite prepare you for the real thing. And again, that's not to frighten anybody. It's just to make sure that you're aware of these potential pitfalls or things that might happen so that you are prepared for them and you do have the best experience possible. So, okay, let's jump on to the next slide. I did want to list out some inner fears, again, not from a fear factor standpoint, but for more of an awareness standpoint of things that can interfere with successful skin-to-skin bonding. Oh, you know what? I think I may have skipped over one slide. I think I may have gone too early to this one. Let me go back one slide because I don't think we talked about positioning. Nope, this is the one I missed. And I don't want to skip over this one because I think it's really important. The perfect positioning for the best skin to skin, right? So when we say skin to skin, we want to make sure that both mom and baby are skin to skin ready. So that would be mom's bare chest, really up against baby's bare chest. I know sometimes they put a diaper on baby. That's absolutely fine, in case they have to go to the bathroom. But it really should be literal skin to skin with nothing, no layers of clothes between mom and baby. Right between mom's breasts is the perfect place for baby. It's very soft. It's very comforting. Again, they can hear mom's heartbeat. The warmth of the chest is there really to keep baby warm. And they start to get acclimated to mom's scent as well from the colostrum that starts coming from the breasts soon after delivery. Sometimes even have it come in a little bit before delivery. But that's where they can really start to get acclimated to mom's body, which is so important. You also want to make sure that the baby's head is turned to the side so that their airways are not restricted, that their mouth is visible, their nose is visible, and they have good breathing, right? You don't want anything to get in the way of their ability to breathe clearly. And the right distance is that you should be able to lower your head down and give them a little kiss on the head, right? So that's kind of like the perfect distance. If you could keep them kissable and make sure that their airways are clear, that's a really good position. And then after you get them in the position, you can absolutely cover yourself or both of you with a blanket or a garment or something. Delivery is a little exposing to say the least. So mom has to be comfortable, right? I do believe in skin to skin. There are many great benefits of skin to skin, but you can also cover yourself so you don't have to feel like you have to be completely exposed the whole time that you're doing this. And you should, if mom's comfortable, more than likely baby will be comfortable as well. So yes, use your best discretion. And that's a great way for partners to get involved as well, right? If they can help foster that position, they can help make sure that you have sheets or blankets over the top of you so that you're comfortable and that baby's in that great safe sleeping position. So, and now this is the right entry into some inner fears, because once you do get into that position, we mentioned that the cortisol levels, those stress levels start to reduce, those love hormones start to increase, the oxytocin, which are all great things to do. But a lot of moms forget how tired they're going to be, right? So the first deterrent or interfere to good skin to skin bonding is going to be that maternal exhaustion, right? So you've just gone through labor and delivery. Sometimes it's a couple hours, sometimes it's 24 hours. You're pushing. It's called labor for a reason. It is hard work. Don't let anybody tell you it's not, because it is hard work. Even if you go through and have a C-section, that is no easier. I've done it both ways. They are both very difficult ways to get a baby out into the real world. You are going to be tired and you're going to need to deserve to rest. You want to have awareness of that. So if you start to feel sleepy, the best thing is to keep your baby safe, right? You want to put baby, you want to call the nurse, talk to a partner, you want to put baby back in the bassinet, but you want to be really aware of maternal exhaustion. Medications, the pain medicine, the anesthesia, all those different medications that you're getting, right? They say, if they had a label on it, it would say, do not operate a motor vehicle while under the influence of this. There's no baby label that says, do not hold baby while you are under the influence of these, but they really can affect your ability to react to certain situations. They might cause you to be impaired and inhibit your motor functions. So if you are on medicines, again, you want to make sure that you're bringing that awareness to people that you are on these, and can it possibly negatively impact my skin to skin time with baby. Lack of assistance. I didn't know what to ask for when I first started. I didn't know my dear husband wanted help. I didn't know what I needed help with quite yet. So really thinking about these things like, hey, honey, I know I'm going to be tired. I know I'm going to want an epidural. I'm probably going to be on pain medicine. I need you to help make sure that you're watching me so that I can take care of the baby. If you notice me dozing off, if you notice me slurring my words or not looking aware of things, please make sure that the baby is safe. Either move the baby or help me support the baby, but always asking for assistance. And then finally, we are expected in a lot of ways to be super moms all the time. It's no small feat to have a baby and then be expected to get up and start walking a couple hours later, care for the baby independently. It's a lot. It's a lot. So don't get into that common mistake of assuming you can do it all. It is 100% okay to ask for help. It is 100% okay to encourage asking for help of other moms, asking people to help you, right? Give them tasks. I want you to do this. I want you to do this. I want you to do this, so that then people know what their role is and that you can really focus on you and baby. And that is a really great segue into this next session about how can your partners help, right? Partners absolutely play a vital role in this skin to skin bonding. And the best way that they can do it, as we kind of mentioned a little bit before, is they need to be an advocate for you, right? And that comes with having these conversations before you get into that hospital room so that they know what's expected of you. My husband, God bless him, we've been married for 20 years. When we went into the hospital with our oldest, our first child, we had no other children at the time. He was so excited to stay in the hospital room with me. He had a lovely night's sleep on the cot, and I was up all night, and he proceeded to tell me how he had such a great night of sleep at the hospital and was amazed. I thought, we might need to revisit how we work this because I got no sleep last night. Now, was it his fault? No, I didn't know either, but it's something that we had to address. When I'm sleeping, you need to be the one awake with the baby. And when I need to go to sleep, you need to be awake. So something simple like sleep shifts, right? That's a great way to help make sure that mom is rested and able to take care of baby when they're trying to do that skin to skin time. Again, making sure that if they're recovering from medication or if you're feeling shaky, help your partner be able to identify those things, talk about that, make them aware so that they can look for those warning signs and either physically support you, or that might be a good time for them to take over holding the baby until you get to rest and relax a little bit. But all of this can really help reduce the risk of maybe baby rolling off of your chest, baby falling. Unfortunately, it happens more often than we like to talk about, but those things are real issues. And again, not to scare you, but just to bring awareness so that you can try to prevent those things by practicing this safe sleeping. or safe bonding, excuse me. This is one of my favorite quotes, and I will say this a million times as I talk about this topic, especially brand new moms. You're going to get so much information, you're going to get so much advice, solicited and unsolicited. It's a bit overwhelming. So I always encourage, while I do my best to go do factual scientific research and have my sources cited and everything else like that, I strongly encourage you to always do your own research, right? Don't take what anybody says at face value. Use it as a guide. And then if it's something that you think is interesting, make sure it is accurate and it's communicated to you accurately so that you have a good understanding of what it is. But I will tell you, I have done extensive research on skin to skin, and there is so much research out there that the importance of that skin to skin time in the first hour after birth. It is a very unique time for both mom and infant individually and in relation to each other. It provides advantages to short and long-term health, regulation, and bonding. So that phrase right there, short and long-term health, kind of, really geeks me out a little bit as I continue to do research. I told you this whole idea of kangaroo care and really concentrated skin to skin time has only really been around and observed and researched for the past 50 or so years. They're finding more long-term benefits. So adolescents that practice skin to skin time with their parents in infancy and after birth, they have stronger bonds with mom and dad into adolescence and possibly even teenagerhood. So to think, oh, what am I going to do with my teenager when they start to be, like teenagers are, mouthy and unruly and whatever. Bonding can help with that. Those couple hours right after birth can have an impact 13 years from now, right? So it's a really simple, a really effective way to create and establish that bond and get all these wonderful benefits that are really available during that first 60 to 90 minute, that unique period between mom and baby. So kind of to wrap it up, I just wanted to spend a few minutes talking about my own experience. As I mentioned, I am a mom to 4 kids. My oldest is 17. I have 2 sons, 17. Well, I have 3 sons, sorry, 17, 14, and then I have my daughter. She's going to be 12 in August, and then my youngest son is 7. So with all these different experiences, I learned a little bit through each delivery experience. My oldest son came out. I thought I was having a seizure. I was shaking violently, only to be told by the nurse that it was completely normal, that those are known as adrenaline shakes or postpartum shakes, which I didn't realize at the time, but I gave my child to my husband thinking I was having a seizure and I didn't want to drop him. So missed out on some of that great skin to skin time with him. Little did I know, even then, the best remedy for that is skin to skin bonding. So I'm thinking, how can I keep this baby on my chest if I'm shaking violently with tremors? My second and third children were pretty routine as far as that goes, but with my fourth, I was in the hospital. I had labored with him for the better part of 12 hours. He was very stubborn, would not come out. So I ended up going in for an emergency C-section, which that was my first C-section. So this was a very new experience for me. And I really felt like I, knew what I was doing at this point. This wasn't my first time. I had 3, deliveries previously. I had gone through them just fine. So was a little thrown for a loop with my little one here being delivered via C-section. As you can see, I was on the table. Thank goodness my husband got to practice some skin to skin time with him in the meantime. I wasn't able to hold him for probably the first 3 hours or so after I delivered. I was heavily medicated. I was in post-op for a little bit, and then they brought me to recovery, and I spent a good amount of time there. And my husband kept asking me, do you want to hold baby? And I just knew I didn't have my wits about me yet. I knew I wasn't going to be able to do it. So fast forward, I had some food. I had kind of regained my wits about me. My husband went home to visit with our other 3 kids. I think my mom and my mother-in-law were there at the house at the time, so I was alone in the room with the baby, and I still don't know what happened. I just know that the next thing we were doing skin to skin, and the next thing he had fallen onto the bed in front of me. Thankfully, he wasn't hurt. I don't even know if he cried, but I cried. I was just beside myself thinking, how could I drop my child? This was not my first child. So the anger, the frustration, the embarrassment, like all those feels that come out. Plus, I'm like, 6 hours, 8 hours postpartum. I have enough hormones to, do whatever with. But it was pretty traumatic, and we just really thought, if this happens to me, like this must happen to other moms too. Like this must be something that it should be really talked about more. And they did have signs in the hospital. They said, don't drop your baby, don't fall asleep. I didn't plan to doze off while I was holding my baby. My husband had gone. It was so I didn't even have a chance to press for the nurse. It happened so quickly. And it was really eye opening. And again, like I said, it must happen to other people. So around 600 to 1600 babies are dropped in the hospital each year. The statistics show that is probably a very small percentage because they assume that the majority of those instances are not reported. So when they say 600 to 1600, that is of the ones that are actually reported, which is scary. And it was kind of from this whole experience that I said, if there's something I can do about this. And he was born in March. In December, I started with no professional sewing experience. I started putting together this idea for a gown, a bonding gown that could be used for mom and baby, to help reduce the risk of babies being dropped in the hospital. And that's where I kind of came up with my skin to skin gown. So I worked with a number of local pattern maker, local manufacturers here in the Cleveland area, and was able to design a gown that is designed to be worn into the labor and delivery room to get through delivery, postpartum, and then even be used into at home time as either leisure wear or a nightgown to really help support late night feedings or any kind of bonding time that you want to have with the baby. So you can see here it's much more flattering than a typical hospital garment that you're given to deliver in. It's a cotton spandex blend, so it's very soft and cozy. It's very discreet, right? It's not a one size fits all. We actually have 4 sizes. So it looks like a dress from the front and the back. It covers you from behind, so you're not hanging out anywhere. But you can see here it is a wrap style, so each side opens up fully. And if you decide you want to get an epidural, the anesthesiologist has access to the back to be able to place that epidural. And here is kind of the key piece here, our bonding panel. So I was able to get this design patented. So I do have a patent on it, but this bonding panel is designed to help moms support baby after the baby is born so that they can really take full advantage of, oh, Rita, you got one. I have one behind me too on my mannequin. But it's great. It's very soft and flexible. You can see here this bonding panel comes up over baby's shoulders. Baby is in that wonderful perfect position between mom's breasts, head kissable, airways clear, and that bonding panel gently holds baby to mom's chest so that she can start to rest and recover without worrying about baby rolling off or falling. And then again, once that baby is ready for that first feeding, they're naturally going to start to root and head for that breast. That's like their biological instinct as a newborn. You can lower the straps down off the side so you can find that perfect feeding position for babies so they can really start to find that first latch. The first feeding is not going to be that long. It's usually just colostrum, or maybe babies' bellies are super tiny in the beginning, but it's enough to get them going. And then once you're done, you can pull the straps back up again and do that bonding all time. So it was kind of my own story, my own painful experience that led to something that I'm trying to tell mothers about, make them available for people so that they could have a good experience and avoid the pitfalls that I went through. And that's again sharing stories of moms using our experiences to build that community, and help moms, whether or not you have the gown or not. Being careful about what you do with the baby after delivery, making sure you're aware of your own exhaustion, medicine intake, making sure your partner is involved. Those are all things that you can do to make sure that you have a wonderful experience yourself with your newborn. So I did see a couple questions. Where can you purchase them? Again, I can't thank Rita enough for letting me join this conversation. I'm so excited. I'm so passionate about this. So I wanted to give two special opportunities for the folks that are on the call today. So one, I would love to offer a free gown. What I'm asking, it's not a raffle necessarily, but what we'll do is if you can go to my Instagram page at Skin to Skin Gowns on Instagram, follow me, like my posts and comments. I will watch all of these new followers come up, and then I will, at random, pick one of these new followers tomorrow at 12 noon. And I will notify you via Messenger and Instagram that you've won, and I will be happy to send out a gown to you at your home, wherever you are. We deliver everywhere, so I'd love to do that. I'll just need to know, we do have 4 sizes: small, medium, large, and extra large. So I'll just need to get your address and your gown size. We usually say it's a pre-pregnancy shirt size. So if pre-pregnancy you were a large, I would ship you out a large. So that's one opportunity. So if you could do that anytime before 12 p.m. Noon tomorrow, that's when I'll kind of cut it off, and make sure I advertise the winners and make sure that you guys are aware of what's going on. Number 2, if you aren't lucky enough to win, you can still like and follow me on Instagram. I'd love it. But I did put on there a coupon code. Yep. Thank you, Rita. MCK2025. And you can purchase the gowns directly through my website, but that's a coupon for 30% off of the gowns, and it also includes free shipping. So you can use that code and make sure that if you're interested, you can have access to these gowns. And that coupon code is good for everybody. So if you have other mom friends, people that you know that are pregnant, please, please, please feel free to share that around. I want to make these gowns as accessible as possible for as many people as possible. So by all means, please, please, please share that coupon code with friends, family, relatives, colleagues, whomever, and they can share in that same discount. So I can't thank you guys enough for your time and your participation today. I love sharing my story with folks. I love spreading this experience that I've had with people. Congratulations to you. I'm so excited for you all, sincerely. And I wish you guys the best of luck in the future with these newborns and with your continued family. As always, there's my contact information. I have a few minutes. I'm happy to stick around if anybody has any questions or comments, but you can always reach out to me afterwards as well. Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, that was an amazing call. Thank you so much for the information you shared. And I mean, even your testimony, I was like, wow, dropping a baby. I was like, oh my God, I know that had to be just devastating for yourself, and so I'm glad that, I mean, if I was pregnant, I know I would definitely be using it, 'Cause I breastfed my baby for like 14 months. So that skin to skin bond, it does, it really do something, even though she's 19 now, she's still my baby. She's still my
Always.
baby. She is still my baby. So definitely go to the website, and get your gown. Use that code MCK 2025 and get 30% off. That's free shipping and handling. I'm also going to put in the chat, if you have not seen the Mommy Care Kit, you can go take a look at that. I'll put that in the chat as well. And you can go over there if you have not signed up for a kit. It's a preventive care perinatal kit. It has like a breast pump, compression socks, the belly and back support band, a TENS unit, and then the plasma flow device to help prevent blood clots. So definitely take a look at that. And then we have some upcoming events as well. And you can register for those events. I'll put the link in the chat for that. And you can go and, register for some more events coming up in July. We've got about 4 more coming up here for this month. So If you have any questions, you can drop them in the chat.
We actually have one question from Kelly. She had a question about skin to skin and C-sections.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. What do you got, Kelly?
Hi. So
Hi.
yeah, I am most likely gonna have a C-section. So my concern is like not being able to hold my baby and like have that bonding that's really crucial. But since you said you've had both, I'd like to hear what you have to say. Like if you have any advice or anything.
Yeah. So again, advocate for yourself. I would say absolutely, especially if it's scheduled. Talk to your physician now, right beforehand, and express that desire. You know, you really like to have skin to skin time. And I have seen moms have the baby placed on their chest even after a C-section. So the baby is delivered. They have, you know, cleaned the baby off. And as they're working on stitching mom back up, they will have baby on mom's chest. That's really a medical call, right? I was an emergency C-section. I did not have that ability to bond. Personally, my experience, I did not have that ability to bond right away with my baby. But I do know that it's possible. So again, I would make sure that you advocate for yourself. If they say that, oh, we don't think it's going to be possible, ask why, right? Not to necessarily challenge them, but so that you have a good understanding of what the reason, what the rationale is, and ask them to help you find an alternative. Okay, well, if I can't do it, you know, what are some alternatives? When am I going to be able to hold the baby? What's the general time frame? Really, as much as you can. Now, I will say, again, I mentioned I didn't get a chance to bond with my youngest the way that I did with my older kids because of the C-section. And when I did, it was horrible. But I didn't let that deter me from bonding with him eventually. So I still did tons of skin to skin time with him afterwards. So while those surges are super high and those hormone surges rather after delivery, it's not the end of the story, right? So he's now 7. He knows the story of what happened. So I often joke with him, well, maybe your mom dropped you when you were little. And he's like, I know you did. You tell me all the time. But it's just part of his story. And he still sneaks into bed with me, you know, in the mornings because he wants to snuggle. So it's not going to stop it from happening. It might be a little bit different experience, and you might have to do a little bit more after the fact when you gain, you know, your faculties back again. But it doesn't mean that it's going to be, you know, you won't be able to breastfeed. It doesn't mean that you won't be able to have a strong bond. But absolutely talk to your healthcare provider. I mean, that's just my experience. But absolutely make sure that your wishes are known ahead of time, and really put an action plan, especially if it's going to be scheduled. Like, what can I do? This is really important to me. I know the benefits of it. How can I still get these benefits even though I'm going to have a C-section?
Thank you so much.
Yeah, good luck to you.
Yeah, and Miss Rita, I heard you say something about like there's like a birth plan or birth team, preparing a birth team.
Yes.
Okay, that's on the website.
It's on our YouTube channel. I'll drop the link in the chat here, okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I see some new messages. I'm trying to, anybody else? Tanisha, if there are no complications, will they do immediate skin to skin? They should. I mean, they really should. I mean, that's the general standard of practice in most hospitals. I know that obviously hospitals vary and things like that, but yeah, I mean, that's from all my research, all the again, OBGYNs, doulas, nurses, like there could be things like, you know, staffing issues and things that they will rush it, like we heard from CD, but it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be doing it unless there's, you know, sometimes they do have to take the baby to the NICU. Maybe there are breathing difficulties, and, you know, the health and wellness of your baby is first and foremost. But yeah, I mean, that's just the general rule of thumb with healthy babies. Skin to skin should be that standard practice immediately after delivery.
Totally agree. I totally agree. Anybody has any other questions? I did drop the YouTube link in the chat if you wanted to go back and look over some of our seminars. There's a lot of great information in there as well. The Eventbrite link to register for our upcoming classes. And then I dropped the link in for the Mommy Care Kit as well. And all of this information, this recording, like I said, it will be added to our YouTube channel. I'll send out the link and you guys can go and, re-listen to the information. And if you're a doula, drop your information in the chat. I mean, because you could probably help somebody on this call. So definitely, if you are a doula, drop your name. If you want to drop your phone number or Instagram, your social media handles, drop them in the chat. So we definitely can get this information out to someone who may need it.
Absolutely.
And if you would like to collaborate with me and want to be a guest speaker on one of our upcoming seminars, I put my email in the chat. I'll drop it back in there again. Give me 1 second. I'll drop my email back in the chat.
And same here. If my contact information is in the slides, it's pretty simple. skin-to-skin-gowns@gmail.com. If you have questions, concerns, comments,
Yes.
always feel free to reach out about skin to skin or otherwise. I have lots of crazy experiences over being a mom for the past 17 years. I'm happy to share them. Or listen, I love hearing your stories as well. So please send them along.
Absolutely. Well, if anyone has any other questions, any other comments or anything like that, I know you put your Tanisha's a doula. What state are you in, Tanisha? Put your state in there. If you're a doula, you put your Lisa, what state are you from? So that way they'll know. And then we've got Universal Mazin Perinatal Care. That's awesome. Where are you located at? That'd be great. Okay. Ranisha's in Michigan. Me too. Okay, there you go. Email address. Definitely we'll get a hold of you. Yes.
That's awesome.
That's great. That's great information.
I love seeing people from all over the place. This is awesome.
No, I know. It's awesome. It is so awesome. All right. So I've got Martina. I got her information. I'll be reaching out to her as well. All right. Well, I'm going to stop the recording at this time.